Peace and blessings to all my brothers and sisters worldwide. You are now tuned in to the Preciate You podcast, episode number 4, coming to you live from North Las Vegas, Nevada. I am your host, Anthony Calori, and I hope you're having a blessed day on this Tuesday. August 9th, 2022. And to everybody who got up early this morning, and is either getting up right now or got up earlier this morning, today's going to be a good day. It doesn't have to be all fucked up. It doesn't have to be a day where you overthink everything like you did yesterday. And today's a good day to maybe reevaluate yourself in the way that you're thinking about things and the way you're processing information. I heard recently that I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about how the brain protects itself, protects its person from being ostracized from society or groups of society by protecting itself and creating enemies and making excuses, procrastinating, for safety and not being social for safety, having anxiety for safety. And so, today let's not play it so safe. Let's be bold. Let's act. And continue to keep it pushing, man. It's another day. You overthought everything yesterday about how it can go wrong, about how it can go great. And neither of them really matter, man. I mean, it's better to think about how great everything can go, of course. You want to be optimistic. Always choose optimism over cynicism because you don't get anywhere. It's better to fumble forward than it is to stand still. And yeah, so anyways, I don't want to go on and on about that, but today's a good day. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I got up at 4 o'clock this morning, West Coast time, and took my ass to work, busted down a little shift. I got a little break in between, so I came home and I'm busting this podcast down, and that's all there is to it, making sure I'm fulfilling my obligations, staying focused, and really just taking care of my shit, man. Really just taking care of my shit. I know everybody got debt. Everybody has bills, and so take care of that shit. Stop playing around. Pay those tickets, and build that credit. And don't think about it too much. I don't think people who are great sit around thinking about greatness too much. I think they just do shit that, in turn, makes them great later. I don't think Michael Jordan was like, God damn it, one day. I just think that motherfucker just busted his ass, and next thing you know, he looked up and, he was Michael Jordan. So, put in the time, put in the work. It's all for a greater cause. And realizing that, being anxious and nervous and scared and all that type of stuff, putting your feelings before other people, putting your feelings before your responsibilities, your obligations, putting how you feel before the future that you desire 5 years from now. It's really a selfish and narcissistic and unproductive thing to be. And I think that's why, these people who are successful and try to teach us how to be successful constantly emphasize purpose and looking forward and things like that, because you have to have something that anchors you when you're starting to feel like you're going fucking crazy or the world around you is going crazy. And so, if anything, just remember what that is, or be definitive about what that is, and just move like you got somewhere to go. Move like things are going to go well for you, because they are. So long as you want them to, so long as you believe they are, things are going to line up. And it's not just the mindset, it's not just the process, it's and that not just the thought process, but it's about the action and the actual process of getting to where you want to go. Now, a lot of that is, getting through the muck of anxiety and frustration and not making enough money and having to wait till next month or 6 months from now for you to be financially okay, or a year from now for you to be financially okay. And that's okay too. I'd, I'd rather I'd rather things I'd rather walk through I'd rather walk through everywhere I go with the mindset of today is better than yesterday and tomorrow is going to be better than today. And I know today I've put the work in, so when I wake up tomorrow, um, I'll just be one baby step closer to where, I'm praying to be, where I'm asking to be, you know what I'm saying? Where, I'm just the thing that I'm selfishly obsessing about, which is being, successful and a competent person and uh, just a providing man. All the things I talk about on here. Just um, I know I'm only gonna be okay with waking up tomorrow if I have some sense of gratitude for my ability to do these things, and then doing them. So I don't know. Today doesn't have to be fucked up is all I'm saying. And so far it's been cool. So far it's been cool. It's like, mid 80s, 4 o'clock in the morning this morning. And and I love it. I love it, man. It's yeah, it's a blessing to wake up and see another day for sure. Anyway, 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 I'm gonna read some questions. I got a little list of questions here, and I'm just gonna get into some and answer some personally, not try to dress it up and be some fucking Dr. Drew, Dr. Phil, Jordan Peterson, smart motherfucker who, I'm not a psychologist. I just have my experiences. And so I speak from that. I don't speak from some book that I've read or, of course, you pull things from what you've learned, and that also is like mixed in with your experiences. But I'm really not the type of person to, I guess if someone asks for advice or asks me something, I'm not going to pull it out of my ass. Some information that I've read that I don't relate to, and I don't have any experience in dealing with. And when someone asks you for help, a lot of the times the best thing to do is just ask them more questions, and the answer will begin to unravel in front of them. You just peel the layers off what the truth really is, because sometimes the questions they're asking is just the surface of what is really going on. You know, um, we dress up questions in ways that can be deflective sometimes, and not that don't really hold ourselves accountable. A lot of things is like, well, why is the world this? And just for example, a lot of people talk about how fucked up the world is, but have never really helped anybody. And that's not and when I say anybody, I just mean a stranger. Of course you're there for your friends and family, and that's great. But the world itself is kind of strange and mysterious, and unless you're willing to step into that and not just look at it from afar, like you know what I mean, like a billionaire who's like, oh my God, can you believe how many homeless there are? Just hit the oh, how sad it is. It's just like that. I don't, I don't know what that does for other people. And I know it makes people feel good to feel bad for people. I don't know, but just if anyone starts to go off to you about how fucked up the world is, about anything, politics or whatever, just ask them if they've ever helped anyone. You know what I mean? And if they have, when was the last time? And if don't do it like in a dickhead way. You know what I mean? Because you got to ask yourself that too. But maybe don't even ask them that. Just say, hey, well, there's a fucking soup kitchen down the street that we can go volunteer at, or hey, I got $25. You got $25? Let's go, get some food and water and pass that shit out and commit to doing it once a week, or a couple times a week, or let's get some groups together and, you know what I mean, drive around and hit up the group homes and see if there's anything that they need because, man, these these organizations need tons of help, and a lot of people have tons to say about how fucked things are, and uh, and so it just kind of makes me laugh because I mean, just the truth is the truth, the truth is the truth. I mean, we all want to help, but we don't want to help that bad, And we all have our own obligations and things to do, and a part of uh, it's a part of nature, I guess. Only the strong survive, but the human nature is a little bit different. You know what I mean? And there's always uh there's always a chance for someone to rise up from the ashes, um, in this humanity thing, and so that's just anyways. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. All right. You ever felt out of control of your emotions? Yeah, all the time, all the time. I used to think I was an idiot because I'd get so emotional. Like I couldn't even argue with my little brother without feeling like he was smarter than me, just because I would get so upset. And I heard a saying from one of my friends, and I'm not sure. I'm I'm not even sure who exactly, but um, he told me a saying. It was, "Don't let your emotions ruin your life." And maybe we both heard it from somewhere, but don't let your emotions ruin your life. And that's something that I try to remember every day, man. Just even in traffic or somebody bump into you at the store, or you hold the door for someone and they just don't say thank you. You know, it's no big fucking deal, man. Life goes on, and at some point you have to be logical and less emotional, and weigh shit out because as a man, and you can't being emotional isn't really an option because you only really thrive off of I just you know what it is. You know what it is. So there's no wiggle room within our nature and the law of the land for us to act emotionally all the time. And an example, a stupid example I'll give of that is I was arguing with my dad one time about basketball. And we love sports and stuff like that. So we have little debates and stuff, but in this particular moment we're in the car together with a friend of his, and he was telling me that him and my younger brother were playing basketball the other day. And at the very beginning of the story, he's saying that they're playing one on one and they're playing losers. And I guess my brother's killing him, because he's an old man, and my brother's just barely just like stepping into his adulthood and shit like that. And so my dad says he changed it to winners, so it'd be a little bit easier for him, so he wouldn't have to d up all the time and all that type of shit. And it was almost like his memory got erased because like 2-3 minutes later, I'm like, yeah, playing losers is definitely harder than playing winners because you got to play defense. and he says that winners is harder. And I was like, well, how do you how do you how do you make that case? And he's like, well, you got to play D. And I'm like, yeah, if you if you plan on losing, you're gonna play defense all the time. If you play winners, you got to do both. You got to play offense, you got to play defense and stop them. It's like obviously harder because if you're gonna lose, if you plan on losing, in winners, you never touch the ball. Guy's just gonna score on you and score on you and score on you. And he doesn't even have to play defense, which is fucking easy for him. And so I'm getting all hyped up, trying to explain this to him, and he's like, just, I mean, this conversation pretty much sums up shit. Even my brother and my dad. And so he gets to a point where we're both heated about this, and I'm not even remember. I'm so emotional about it. I'm not even remembering that just 5 minutes ago that he said that he stopped playing losers and started playing winners because it was easier. And so we gets to a point where he's like, just drop it, man, just drop it. We're not gonna agree on this. And so for about 2 seconds, I drop it. I was like, all right, man, whatever. And then 2 seconds, like 10 seconds later, I was like, wait a second. Because I finally calmed down and my emotions weren't so goddamn high. I was like, I was like losing my mind. I was like, didn't you just say that you changed it from losers to winners because you were tired and it was easier? And he's like, just started laughing and like laughing in my face. And I just felt so dumb. And like, I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe he just thought he was right and forgot about what he said. But he admitted, like, okay, you're right. And I was like, God damn it. I was just so upset about absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And if I was just the type of person who was like, but you just said 2 minutes ago that that you changed because it was easier, But so that's just one very innocent time where I've lost my fucking mind, over something that didn't matter at all, that was like so easy to see. It's like it didn't even need to be emotional at all, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, so I remember that moment all the time as well. When I start getting all hyped up, I'm just like, dude, just you don't need to get all upset. You know what I mean? Because I mean, my voice will start to get shaky and all that type of shit, man. Like I don't like to be I don't like to be hyped up. I don't like to argue, especially when shit like just isn't adding up. It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, am I crazy? And and so now I did, and that was years ago. That was like 10 years ago. Um, yeah, yeah, 10 years ago, somewhere around there. And so, I've definitely grown and worked on it since then. And now I'm just like, interesting. Okay, explain more. I need, I need, I need more of how this makes sense. And then eventually if shit just doesn't add up, I'm like, hey, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool that you think that. And then, I think it's cool that you think that. And I think it's cool that I think something else. And we could still sit here and have a good time. I think it's cool that we can not agree and we can still have fun. That's that's the that's the route I go nowadays. I don't like to argue. It makes me upset. I don't. I like, confrontation is okay, but just arguing, like debating over silly shit. I like to talk about cool life, and I like to talk about experiences, share. I like to learn. Um, I can never be. I can never be those people on ESPN who like don't believe anything that they're saying. You know what I mean? And of course, it's supposed to be a debate. It's supposed to be two different opinions, no matter what. But behind the scenes, these guys completely agree with one thing, and some guy's just talking out of his fucking ass. And Yeah, I never had it in me. Some people do. Some people love to argue. Some people love to argue, but I'm not one of those guys. All right, let's get to another question. Let's get to another question. Have you ever felt this is one of these weird out of control questions? Ever felt uncontrollably happy? Yeah, I have. Um, I have. I got a job in San Francisco one time as a porter, which is essentially a janitor, for some company, some new startup company in the city. And um, yeah, new job in the city. And I had gotten the job, and the day I was starting was the day after the Giants had won their last World Series. I believe. I believe it was what, 2014 it had to have been. Maybe I'm making that up. But so I was in the city, and I wanted to be in the city when the Giants won, because I had been there when the Warriors had won. I was in Oakland when they had won with my friend Jeff and his friend Carson, and uh, and that was, that was incredible. But anyways, that's a different story. But I was in the city, and I started the day after, and yeah, I just remember the Giants won. Everybody went crazy. There was like just thousands and thousands of people in the street. We were all drinking beer, having fun. People setting off fireworks. People setting off fires. Just crazy shit, man. All the Bay music, people besides showing, and for baseball, you know what I'm saying, which like you don't, you know what I mean, you just don't see that. Um, but yeah, it was an incredible time, and I started the next day, and I don't, it might have even been a Sunday that they won, but it was either way, the train wasn't running back home, so I couldn't go home. So I was like, well, fuck, I think I'm just gonna stay up all night and go to work tomorrow for my first day of work, because that's just the type of idiot I was. And so, yeah, I just remember partying all night with a bunch of Giants fans, a bunch of people I didn't know, but everybody's having a good time, man. And it's just fucking ape shit. It's just like a movie. Just thousands of people climbing the street signs, and it was just beautiful chaos. And then the cops come, and people are throwing bottles. They got their riot gear on and shit, and people are throwing empty liquor bottles that are breaking over their cars and shield, and it's just it's just that's human nature too. And so it was a good time, but then eventually they cleaned the street up, and it's like 3 or 4 in the morning, and it went from looking like a bomb went off in there to the streets being absolutely clean. I don't know how they did it, but I saw it. I mean, it was absolute madness, and it was madness out there. And then a couple hours later, it was cleaned up like nothing ever happened. But I was just wandering the streets, man, looking for somewhere kind of cool or not cool, not so cold to lay down. A cool place to lay down, but not a cold place, which was impossible. And yeah, I just remember laying like by the pier one time, and just kind of rested for a little bit, but it was just too cold, and went inside the city and was laying down on some commercial building. Security was nice enough to tell me, get the fuck out of here. And yeah, I probably got like, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes of real sleep, but was just kind of resting hours leading up to me going to work. And so anyway, yeah, stayed up all night, drank all night, went to work the next day, probably smelling like BO and cigarettes and beer and all that shit, but I didn't care really about anything, and I needed a job and whatever, man. This is the idiot type of idiot I was. 8 years ago, and went to work and shit. Was out of it, super out of it. Cleaning toilets and stuff, and checking out the girls that worked at this new tech place, and just feeling so beneath everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just always putting myself in a position to feel lower than everybody. I'm like, man, I slept outside last night. I'm probably still a little drunk, and now I'm cleaning up shit out of a toilet, and I'm just like, all fucked up, And anyways, I uh, I finished up my job or my shift. I don't even remember how long it was, but finished up my shift and then got on the train to go back to San Jose. And so did all that, hopped on the Caltrain. The Caltrain takes you all the way to off of Santa Clara, in San Pedro, at the Caltrain station by the Pavilion or the SAP Center. And then you got to take the light rail all the way to, and I was staying with my aunt Cindy at the time. Take the light rail to the Branham, and yeah, so I had a good long ass trip, and got home and slept my ass off. Just slept, and I had work the next day, really early in the morning again, and I don't know, for whatever reason I fucked the job off, but I tried to some kind of miscommunication between me and them about my next shift and obtaining my birth certificate or something like that. And I honestly just didn't want to take the train up there. I didn't have a car at the time, and I think the pay was like 15 an hour, and I was like, oh man, this shit just isn't worth it anyway. And so I just kind of subconsciously, and just in the back of my mind, quit the job, but still kind of was flirting with going with it. So the second day I was gonna work, I was supposed to come in, but I didn't come in on my second day of work, right? With no communication or no proper communication with the person who hired me. And so I remember I was on the light rail. I think on the light rail going toward the Caltrain, and I don't remember if he texted me or called me, but I was either listening to a voicemail or reading a text message, and it was saying that that I was terminated essentially as I was like on my way to work. I guess I don't know. I don't even fucking remember, but I just remember feeling like shit. I mean, I was pretty down and out, living with my aunt Cindy, didn't have a car, was trying to get off the liquor and just take care of myself. You know what I mean? Things around me were just kind of falling apart, and I don't really know why either. It's just kind of what was going on. It wasn't just making the best decisions or anything. But anyway, yeah. So I get the message that I don't need to show up for work. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And this is really early in the morning, and so I get off the light rail because I'm like, oh, I'm not fucking. I don't need to go to the train. So I get off the light rail. And at first I'm upset. I'm upset with myself, even though I know it's my fault. And I'm just upset with my situation. And I'm just like, man, why do I keep fucking everything up? Why am I so impulsive and so indecisive and unsure about what I do? Why can't I just pick one thing and stick with it? And what the fuck am I gonna do, man? Like, what am I gonna do? And then as I was walking, just after just getting fired and whatever, just going through what I had gone through the last couple of days, I just got this overwhelming sense of like comfort, like something like I had just gotten like a hug from someone who I loved dearly and hadn't seen in a long time, and I just everything I was feeling just got washed over with reassurance that everything was going to be okay. And I just remember just with no control at all, just started smiling and laughing. And was like, it's gonna be all right, man. Like it's it's fine. Like I'm okay, and like it was almost like because I knew because I knew it was my fault, and I didn't really want the job, and I had just had like a crazy time with the Giants winning the World Series and sleeping outside and feeling homeless for a night, and uh and then working the job, and just everything was like, man, you were an idiot. I just told myself like, man, you are an idiot, but you're gonna be okay, man. But you're gonna be okay. And it was just a voice that didn't feel like mine. It was an embrace that didn't feel like I gave myself. It was just big, this big hug that I got, and I just remember just laughing and smiling and tearing up a little bit and just being like, man, let's get back to it. That's done. That was a cool experience, but life goes on. Life goes on, and it's okay. And so that was a time I felt uncontrollably happy. I mean, it was just, there's no reason for me to be happy. I mean, I was a bum. I was a bum. There's no reason, uh, from the outside looking in, like, what is this fucking fool smiling about? This jobless, carless idiot, girlfriendless idiot. And but in reality, man, I knew that I was gonna be okay, and everything was gonna be okay, and I had everything inside me to just move on, man, just fucking move on. I mean, I've been through worse, and just wasn't that big of a deal. It just wasn't that big of a deal. So, all right, how would you spend a date if you can only use $30? If you can only use $30 on a date, I think the smartest thing to do is go on a picnic. Because it's always cheaper to make the food. Always. I mean, with $20, you could have a full on meal with your girl. A full blown meal. Full blown meal. With that $10, you can buy a nice little wine, you know what I'm saying? And have yourself a nice date. Um, or you could put that $30 in your gas tank and go take her on a hike or whatever. And yeah, there's a lot of different things you can do. Um, you to hide how broke you are. But the best things to do is to make the meal yourself, so you don't spend it all on the food, because um, eating is like 1% of the date. Most of it is looking at each other and talking to one another and getting to know each other. So the $30 really doesn't matter. If you could get yourself, and especially, you don't have to drink. You know what I'm saying? A date doesn't have to be at night. It doesn't have to be dinner. It could be lunch. It could be even early in the morning, and going and doing an activity that doesn't require much. You guys can go out, go do some outdoor shit, and then use that $30 to go buy her some flowers. You know what I'm saying? Or use 20 to buy her some flowers and $10 to, get your ass home. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that serious. Dates don't always have to be what it is. What it seems like it is, which is you got to wine and dine someone that you hardly know, that you want to get to know. And the most important thing is getting to know them. And you don't really have to spend that much money with someone who is genuinely interested in you, to get to know them. Just having coffee, right? Coffee don't cost no $30, does it? So get some coffee with that. Get some coffee. Go on a nice picnic or some shit. Another question. Where do you want to be 10 years from now? 10 years from now, I'll be 40 years old. I want to have at least two children, um, healthy family, married, a few houses, assets, I should say, property, some multiple streams of income. And I just want to be playing these keys, man. I don't want to be worried about doing shit except the things that I love to do and raising my family. I just want to play jazz and jazz ballads. I want people to feel the love that's in the air when I'm playing, and I want people to fall in love when I play. You know what I'm saying? And that'd be fly if that was the case 10 years from now, getting paid to help people fall in love, in the middle of the day or in the middle of the night. And yeah, just get paid to play, man. Just get paid to play. I mean, definitely want to travel and things like that, but where I want to be, I mean, I don't mind being in Las Vegas 10 years from now and you know, seeing my kids go through elementary school, and hopefully I have most of my family out here. So have a big family around us 10 years from now. And yeah, man, just want to be a good man. Just want to be a good man, a better man than I am now. A more conscious man, a more selfless man. Um, and yeah, I got some financial goals that don't even really like I said, everything, things that are personal to me are personal to me. I don't want to share anything that makes anyone else feel like they need to have the same goals as I am. Generally speaking, I want to be a good husband, a good man. I want, I want there to be God in my family's, like tradition and life and just day to day. But I also want to have fun and throw parties, and celebrate everybody because you only get one ride at this motherfucker. So 10 years from now, I want to be having a good time.